The bosses in Isaac kinda suck, don't they? I've been streaking a lot lately, and I've been noticing how the boss fights aren't really any exciting for me. I adore Isaac. I've been playing it since 2017, and I still enjoy seeing rare mechanics and unique synergies, but the bosses, they just feel underwhelming. There's no variety in their attack patterns, there's no need to adapt to different situations or phases. Repentance actually tried tackling some of these problems. We have quite a bit of bosses who actually make the player adapt. Siren, who might take away your extra damage, Tough Twins that you can't just normally damage, Rodgad, who's pretty unique, and Gideon, which is just a glorified grid mode wave. I honestly hate him. Outpath bosses are generally more fun to fight, and I wish we simply had more of them, but there's still some problems even they suffer from. In almost every run, you either kill the boss in 10 seconds and don't even see more than like a single attack, or the fight drags for so long because you have no damage, you just wish you could just die already and start a new better run. There are some solutions the game tries to provide: boss armor and stage HP, but boss armor needs some serious rework, and only a handful of enemies actually have stage HP. And third, something I haven't mentioned yet, the lack of reward for your performance. Allow me to elaborate. While you do actually get a higher chance of Devil's Deal from beating the boss without losing red hearts, it is still only a chance, and it is still something you can earn even if you take a bunch of damage. And then we have bosses after Womb that give you like no reward at all for doing well against them. I could now hit Satan, Isaac, or even Harsh, and the game will not acknowledge it in any capacity. I won't receive anything extra for my work. So, are there any ways to fix these three major issues with the boss design in Isaac? Let's look at the other great roguelike games and see if they try tackling similar problems. You guys remember Enter the Gungeon? That roguelike is obviously different from Isaac and works dissimilar in quite a few ways, but it does actually solve one of the issues I brought up today through a little mechanic called Master Rounds. Master Rounds can only be earned from defeating a boss completely hitless. It's a passive bonus item that increases your health bar by 1. This is a great tool to encourage the player to actually try during the fight, and it just feels good when the game gives you something extra for playing great, even if it's not that powerful. Isaac could definitely use a mechanic like that. Maybe instead of an extra HP up, the boss could give you there's option effect if you beat them hitless. Maybe it could drop you a coin, a key, and a bomb. Doesn't sound too overpowered, but I'm sure it will make you actually turn your brain on and have a little extra fun, as well as making you run a little stronger, not because you just got lucky, but because you actually played well. When it comes to the issue of variety, I think of two great card roguelikes that always make me change the way I play when facing a boss: Slay the Spire and Balatro. I know, those are deck builders, but I still wanna mention the ways those games make the boss fights feel dangerous. In both of those games, the bosses are all created in such a way to counter most possible strategies a player can go for. You're playing multiple high cards to reach the score goal? Well, now you can only do it once during the boss blind. Either get some consumables in the shop to help yourself, or quickly look for a joker to change your entire strategy. Oh, you're spamming shifts as silent? Here's time meter, meaning you have to count every single card you play, and stock up on a bunch of potions if you even want to have a chance of surviving. Oh fucking course it's a time eater, goddamn, every single time it's fucking time eater. Obviously Isaac isn't a deck builder. Your entire strategy throughout the game is to shoot out tiers and dodge the enemy ones. But as we've already seen, even then the player could face unique obstacles during the boss fight. We just need more of those. Let your imagination run wild on this one. I don't know, make a boss that requires you to press buttons that he spawns instead of directly damaging him. Make a boss that can sometimes deflect your attacks, so you have to be careful and time them well. Make a boss that gives you a curse neck floor if you hit the wrong part of its hitbox or something. The ideas are endless. I want those types of bosses in the game, and not 5 slightly different versions of Monstra. And finally, the scaling. I originally wanted to talk about Risk of Rain 2 and the way that game handles enemy HP and damage, but yeah, it's actually a pretty bad example. If you played a single run of that game, you know exactly why. This is definitely the hardest problem to solve, because how can you make an enemy be strong enough if your run is baller, and weak enough if your items are all trash, without sucking out all the fun from it? Maybe you can't? I don't know, I've been thinking about the correct way to go about HP and damage scaling, but I weren't able to think of something that would fit the way Isaac is played. If you figure something out or provide a good example of a similar game that does solve this issue, make a comment and I'll pin it. Also subscribe and join my Discord and stuff, you know the drill I think. So, let's make a conclusion on how we should design bosses for roguelikes and see how close Isaac is to getting there. We need to have quite a bit of different fun bosses, which would pose unique obstacles and possibly mechanics, making the player adapt to the situation and enriching every run with variety. These bosses need to be strong enough to not die to a single attack, but not to drag for too long either. The fight should always be rewarding, and the better the player performed, the greater the reward should be. But do you wanna know why none of the things I just said even actually matter to our beloved game? Because that's just the way Isaac is. He doesn't reward you for performing good against bosses, but it sure does reward you for beating the bosses as different, unique characters. It might not boost your run for beating someone hitless, but it will boost your entire gaming experience through meta progression and character unlocks. The game could give you a run where you won't have a single proper fight with a boss, but isn't that actually fun? Isaac is unfair. And that's a good thing, if it means I have a better time with the game. Who cares if I don't fight Delirium properly? Depleting its health bar with my giant gay laser beam of death is enjoyable enough. I do think that my complaints about the bosses not being anything unique are justified, but I don't really care as much as the video would suggest. I think Hush, Dogma, and Mother are all both engaging and fun fights. And unironically, I think Ultra Grid is one of the most well-made final bosses. People are really sleeping on him. Isaac is a special game for me. I love and cherish it, and even 5 different versions of the same monster boss can't change that. I guess the real conclusion of this video is that video games are awesome, so don't just be stuck with one of them. Try some other ones and see what mechanics they do better and what mechanics they do worse. Enrich your experience, and as usual, have a good night.